Sawasdee and welcome to Be My Guest, the program which brings you successful stories of entrepreneurs and organizations in both the domestic and international arenas. I'm Sarosha Ratanapian. In the digital age where people in Generation Z is flowing into the market, the organization needs to be proactive to the change in the business and personnel environment, and not to mention the entrance of Thailand Arts and Economic Community, or AEC. So in this episode of the program, I will bring you to know more on the trend of human resources development and also the executives development industry. And I will bring you to know more on a training program designed for executives in order to prepare themselves for the new changes in the human resources world. And right now, I'm granted the opportunity with Dr. Suthisopan Chewongyat, the expert in leadership development. Sawasdee ka.
Sawasdee ka.
So first of all, could you introduce yourself a bit to our fans to be my guest?
Yes, and my name is Suthisopan, and I have been working more than 20 years in leadership development, both in HR consultancy services, and another half of my career working as a practitioner at leading the HR team for both Thai and multinational company.
Okay, so I'm wondering about the situation right now in Thai market on personnel development and also leadership organization and development.
Yeah, I think, talking about the current situation when the whole organization and the whole world is moving toward the digital economy, this is the most exciting times. Because, when we are talking about technologies in one side, people is still very important as another side, because we always pay a high attention to how we can utilize technologies and digitals, in this world. But at the same time, only the digital cannot make the organization maintain the competitiveness, because still, people is still the core. So I think with this rapid changes, so a lot of organizations need to prepare the leadership in the organization to make sure that they maximize, the whole values of the digital, to make sure that it can engage to the clients and can make customer delight with both digitals and people experience.
Okay. Now you mentioned one word, digital economy. So what is digital economy?
And actually, I think this is not new now, because every organization very excited to bring in the technology in, and then how they can use the technology to, understand the customer and then respond very quickly and fast to the customer. So now the customer have changed. And the ability to understand the customer and to respond to the need of the customer as fast as possible can bring the competitiveness to the organization.
Okay.
So a lot of organizations thinking about invest a vast amount of money on technology, but at the same time, we have a lot of clients that talk to us that solely the digital technology cannot use the whole values of it if the people not give the whole corporation don't use that technology, don't share the information, or not really have the digital mindset or digital behavior.
I see. Okay, so that would lead to being the expertise, in leadership organization, also management and development. Now, so what are the problems or even challenges of leadership organization and management nowadays?
Talking to a lot of Thai leaders and also HR professionals in many companies, not only in Thailand but across the world, we find out that the most challenging thing comes from 4 different angles. The first one is the leadership themselves. Whether the organization have really prepared them for the next challenges. Sometimes, the leader might have some closed mindset that we have, we have learned enough, but actually, when we have changed, it's not enough, with that skill. So their readiness, to cope with the new challenges and their capability, for example, are they really inspired enough? Because in the past, communication only can make them survive good enough. But with the new challenges, it's not just about communicating. is about how you can inspire the teams and inspire the whole organization toward the new venture. So this is really the new capability that all the leaders should have. And that's one point. And the second point is the process within the organization, whether it's really facilitate the leaders to have the chance to learn. I mean, when talking about learning, it's not about taking the class, but still, if HR or people in people development organization just thinking about just arranging the class and then invite the executive to come and learn. So this is not the process that's facilitate the new learning style. Based on the research that we do, the global research, it find out that the new way of learning is not about e-learning, but it's about on-demand learning, which means we can access to the learning anywhere and anytime when we need it. So this is the challenges that the executive themselves should have the open mindset that I need to learn anytime to use that skill in every single challenges of everyday work, and at the same time the organization have the process available for them to access to those information at anywhere and any times. And another point that very important as well, apart from the executive themselves, the process itself, is the organization culture, whether it's really facilitate the leaders to utilize that skill in the real world, in the real day-to-day work processes. For example, if it's still top-down approach, this is not really facilitate the culture that facilitate them to leading the change and transformation in the organization. So this is something that really the challenge, three challenges in current organization.
Okay, so basically, these are difficulties that the leader, have to encounter, nowadays. Now, what about the trend right now in leadership, management and development? So, what is the trend in the 21st century like this?
If talking about the trend, I think nowadays a lot of experts have talking about robot. They're talking about whether the technology can replace human skill. And personally, if I work 20 years in leadership development services and working with different leaders across the regions, I would find that human is still play a vital role in every single point. And if have the robot in, digital or technologies come in, it can help people to create more value job instead of, we just focus on day-to-day job, administrative jobs. So now we have a robot or AI, to help us. At the same time, we can think about how we can solve the problem, how we can create what we call the human moment. This is very important because now today, even talking about our family, when we are sitting in the kitchen and then mom, dad, and the kids, they keep playing their smartphone. But we have a very short periods of time that we really have the human touch or human moment. So I think if the organization can make people focus in how to create the values to a human moment, they can have a high competitiveness among the competitors because for technology it can copy next day, but people capability, ability to create the human moment, problem solving, or make a decision in the complex situation. This is something that cannot copy.
Okay, and this is only a trend in current world, and then we are going to observe the human moment or its importance surely in the year 2018. However, in the next break we'll learn more on how one course which is mentoring executive training course will actually help the mentor and also help the leader to provide a very good organizational culture and also to capture the human moment. So please stay tuned on Be My Guest. Welcome back to the program. You're watching Be My Guest with me, Sarosha Ratanapian. And in the first break, we have learned the current trend which is coming in the next year, 2018, which is human moments and also the replacement, maybe the coming of robot in the world. Now, is there any other trend when we talk about personal development industry?
Actually, this trend is really the global trend, and it's the mega trend that if we carefully study, I think this is gonna change the world. And it's just about the demographic shift, which means that next year we're gonna have 5 generations working together in the same organization. So, my experience as an expert in multi-generation workplace, I would say that a lot of organizations still see not the challenges, because we're thinking about generation as the revolution and evolution. So we just, thinking that, okay, we have to live with it instead of doing something or make any benefit out of it. So next year, as I say, that's going to be 5 generations working together in the organization. And how can the organization make use of 5 different generations to benefit the customer, to benefit the society, or to benefit the country? So those who can use that capability can be the leaders in the business. And we should carefully study about the research, which is saying that, talking about multi-generations, we should know that the new generation, namely Generation Y or Generation Z, they don't think that coming to work in the office is necessary. So they say they can work anywhere and anytime, or even research saying that the choice of choosing the company is about the technology the company have, So it means if the company have the right technology, which for them, they can work anywhere, anytime. So that could be potential employer of choice. That's one point. Another point is that for this generation, they say they expect to work in the company not longer than 5 years. If we're talking about this in the past, the employer might say, I'm not going to choose you, because you don't have the loyalty, you don't have the engagement. But this has become the new norm, right? And another thing is that for the baby boomer means those who are aged around 55 until 67, 68. So they're in the organization and they have allowed 5 years for the retirement age. But with the new trend, that might be a dream, because organization still need them to groom for the next generation in the organization.
I see, okay. So that means in the multi-generation era here, so different people with different ages group, will work together. So this will lead to another question is, what will be the problem that might be occurring in the organization?
I would say that the challenges that the organization will face is, first we should know that Generation Z, which is age around 22, they will coming to the organization next year. Formally, after the graduation, we call them the 5 monitor generation, which means they might have iPad, iPhone, desktop, sitting in front of them. But if we study about the leadership in terms of brain-based leadership, we will know that our brain cannot work like multitasking. It can just work like task switching, which means when they switch a task, when they switch the monitor, they take around 25 minutes to refocus. So if we allow them, to bring that 5 monitors to work, in 1 hour, they might not, able to produce anything at work. But in reality, can the organization say that, I don't want to hire the new generation anymore? So that might not be the ideal, for leaders to manage. And actually, we work with Thai leaders who really want to bring in the innovation from the new generation. And they say that 90% of their employees is Generation Y and Generation Z. They can think creatively, and then they can bring a lot of innovation. But they spend like 3 hours for the meeting. So what they do is, they create a fun working environment, and come to work is like meeting friends. But if in the meeting, they ask them to keep the mobile phone in one place.
I see.
And so I asked them whether this is really work for them, because for them, mobile phone is one of important thing in life. But they say that, if we can tell them why, the reason why, and the environment, the culture is very facilitated, fun, and productive working environment, they're okay with that. So they say that, the meeting time has been reduced from 3 hours to 30 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah. So for them, 30 minutes with no mobile phone is okay. And at the same time, the organization can bring in efficiency as well during the meeting.
I see. And for the mindset of the executives, nowadays in this century, so what should they perceive, these generation, no matter they're a generation Y or generation Z?
I'm working with a lot of leaders, once they come in and they talk about the challenge that I don't know why they're not patient. I don't know why they're thinking about leaving the job next day, even they don't have the new job yet, But after we talk about this, because if we carefully see how the generation Y and generation Z develop, their mother and their father is generation baby boomer. So they has been groomed by the baby boomer, which is the management or the executive in the organization. So when I talk to them, the development of this generation, they say that, it's just like my kid at home. So once they have the mindset that, something that they can ignore, at the same time, what could be something that they can develop them to be a better person, just like my kids. So they have more patience and understanding how to work together as a multi-generation workplace.
And any other case study or experiences in the past that once these executives understand more about the organizational culture and the way that the world has been changed, so the things are better in the organization.
Yeah, the executive who understand using 5 different generations in the organization, one thing is that they can engage people in the organization. It doesn't mean that they have to, please only the new generation. But I think the key is that they have to balance. For example, if they have the previous generation, like Generation X or Baby Boomer, they try to give them the recognition in bringing their expertise, bringing their experience to help the new generation. At the same time, they recognize the new generation in their innovation, in their creativity, and also allow them a space that they can be, showing their talent, at the same time fail in the safe zone. So this is something that innovation can happen, and the experience is still there. So the organization that have innovation, the organization that understand the new trend can use this 5 generations to benefit the organization.
So all these experiences actually have to maybe being gained from maybe training and also from the courses or maybe from other people who will come into the organization to teach these executives these lessons and experiences. But for now it's time for a short break. We're right back to learn more on a new, interesting and very exciting course, which is Executive Mentor course. So how these, executives can learn from mentor. So please stay tuned and we'll learn more on the next break. And welcome back to the program. You're watching Be My Guest and with me again, Sarosha Ratanapian. And in the first and the second break, we have learned a lot about the changes in society, the changes in organization, especially the importance and due to the fact that the executives or the business owner need to be really adaptive to the change in the world, such as multi-generation existence, which is coming in this century. So I believe that nowadays we have a program in order to that is tailored for these executives. So could you tell us a bit about this course?
And this program is called Executive Mentoring. I think if talking about mentor, a lot of organizations quite familiar with the term, but when talking about executive mentor, that is something that quite new, especially in this market in Thailand. And actually, if I go back to the trend that digitals or the trend about multi-generation workplace, mentor play a very vital role, in the organization because they can be the one, like the trusted advisors that also have that experience before So with this trend of digitals, a lot of new generation leaders has been working toward the technology. They might be good in doing some technology, but in terms of making it last long or sustainable, they need a mentor, which is the executive that have that experience before and seeing things in different perspective to help them, to guide them through that success. And from the research, we see that those executives, the new generation executive who have the mentor, they feel that they can make a better decision. They say that more than 70-80% saying that they can fulfill the expectation of the stakeholders, and also their mentor can help them avoid some mistake that might be happen if they're the only one person who make that kind of mistake. Make that kind of decision. So help them make a decision in the right way. So this is something that help executive grow faster. And if we go back, to the world leader, we can see that, like Bill Gates, he also have Warren Buffett as the executive mentor, or even Mark Zuckerberg. He said himself that actually Steve Jobs is his mentor as well. So with this generation, or the new generation leader, we cannot allow them to, doing something like try and earn themselves, and then it's waste of time, waste of resources, waste of money. So the executive mentor can help them.
I see. Yeah. So what are the responsibilities of the mentor or the mentor in the program?
The mentor, is the experienced executive who will sit like one-on-one. And they are also using some coaching skill, asking questions, understand the context of the new generation leaders. And once they understand, how the thinking process has been shaped, they share some expertise, they share some experience that has been in that same shoes before. And then they might, connect them to the right resources, like their network, or what could be advisors out of the two of them to help them, go to the business result really fast. And also at the same time, they're not just about focusing on the business result. They're also focusing on the leader to develop the development gap. So they can like giving feedback and ask them to reflect themselves. So through this learning process, even the mentoring period has been in, but the skill as a leader in reflecting themselves, in developing themselves, is still there with the executive.
Okay. So I'm wondering right now, so what is the duration of this program?
And normally for the executive mentoring, it can be last from 8 to 12 months.
Okay, from 8 to 12 months. So what can be the distinguished benefits that the executives can get?
Yeah, normally the executive that join the programs, first they might be the first time CEO, right? Or they might be the CEO that comes from the family business. So they want someone from outside to shape their thinking, to help them, thinking about something else that the family haven't been thinking about that before. So that could be the potential executive that join. Another one might be the executive that get the new assignment. For example, going to the AEC market, or the executive that has been appointed to the new culture. Like if they are the executive come from multinational company like in Europe or America and first appointed in Thailand or the country around Thailand, and they need to know the culture, work with Thai people or work with people in Asia. So we will have the company can search for the executive that have this experience before to guide them. This means that the executive who have been through the program can adjust themselves very fast to the assignment, and they can fulfill the stakeholder expectation very fast.
I see. Okay. So what in terms of the size of the organization? So is it really practical for this program for small and medium-sized businesses?
I think it can apply to all, even for the startup. Nowadays, I have met a lot of leaders in the startup business, and after 3 or 4 years, they say that I need a mentor, you know, because on the first 3 years, they have the talent in bringing technology. And once the company has been in a good shape, like in the first phase that a lot of investment, now it's time to manage. So and a lot of new startup executives, they're like 28, 29, 30 years old. And if they can have someone who more experienced sitting together, give them a confidence. So I think, when Thailand going to 4.0, this can be something that really help the new leader in startup to be more success.
Okay, so last but not least, any final note for our viewers?
The final note, I think now every country is globally connected, and I think that a lot of people are talking about technologies, but at the same time, I think we shouldn't forget about developing people. The company has invested a lot of money in technology, and at the same time, we have to grow the people together with the technology. So in this case, I think the organization will be get a full benefit between balancing of the technologies and people.
Okay, so we have learned a lot from you, on the Executive Mentor course and also the development in Thai society right now and also in the world, such as the multi-generation, change and also the replacement or coming of robots, nowadays. So thank you very much, for your time, today. Thank you very much. ขอบพระคุณค่ะ
ขอบคุณค่ะ
So in this episode of the program, we have learned a lot about human moments and also the multi-generation which is existing in the current situation. So the executives must be really observant in order to understand the younger generations who are occurring and also flowing into the workplaces. Moreover, the executive mentoring courses involves the process of executive coaching, but in a mentoring context. So mentor is an experienced and trusted advisor who takes a custodial interest for the progress of another. And that's all the time we have for Bumega this week. Thank you very much for watching us and tuning in. For more information, you can log into thainews.prd.go.th/en. And I'm Sarosha Ratanapian. สวัสดีค่ะ